orbs gives me 4 armor charge, and I can finish something. Everything's weakened and volatile. Kill it, get repulsor brace on my shotgun, so I have an overshield, and then rinse and repeat. I have 4 armor charge. Go in, finish something. Everything's weakened and volatile. Grenade. Get an overshield if I want. Hey everyone. So I don't normally do videos like this, but this build is so much fun that I just feel like I need to make one. I want to put it out. So it involves Void and Fellwinter's Helm. I've really liked Fellwinter's Helm for a long time because I think it provides a lot of utility and you can use it with tons of different setups. But these Void fragments, along with some of the things in the new artifact, just make this build insane. And you don't even need the artifact to do this. This build is really good even without the seasonal mods. So we'll just get right into it. You can run whatever super you want, obviously. I like to run Healing Rift for the ability regen and more survivability because it's always nice to have more survivability for your team. And then I run Axion Bolt, and you'll see here in a little bit why I like to do that. It might not be the most optimal setup, but that's what I like to do. I run Child of the Old Gods and Chaos Accelerant. I don't feel like you need to run Feed the Void because we have so many different ways to proc Devour in this build. So the first fragment is Echo of Obscurity. Finisher Final Blows grant invisibility. This is great because it gives you a lot of survivability, especially in like higher end content. If you go in to finish an enemy, then you can get out without dying. And then Echo of Cessation. This one pairs with Fellwinter's really well too, because finishing an enemy causes a burst of void stuff that makes enemies become volatile. So, bear with me, but when you finish an enemy, you go invis. Every enemy around you is then weakened and kind of suppressed from Fellwinter's, and it seems to push enemies back too, which gets them away from you. And then they all become volatile. So weakened, volatile, and kind of suppressed / disoriented because they don't seem to shoot at you. And then you get Devour and Invisibility having a longer duration with Echo of Persistence. And then Echo of Starvation, picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour, obviously, so we can get Devour going in the first place. For the armor mods, you can kind of do whatever you want with your helmet. I've got Kinetic Siphon on so that I can get orbs from just my primary kills. And then I've got Ashes to Assets so I can get my super energy back off of grenade kills quicker. And then Power Preservation just because, I don't know, I feel like it'll be fun. On my gauntlets, I have 2 grenade kickstart mods. And then Firepower so that my grenade final blows can create orbs of power. On my chest plate, I've got 2 charged ups, so I can then carry a max of, I think, 4 or 5 armor charge and avoid reserves just for my shotgun. I've got stacks on stacks so that I can get orbs faster, which feeds into my charged up because I can carry more stacks of armor charge, and then that feeds into grenade kickstart so that when I throw my grenade, then I've got a bunch of armor charge that I can feed into that and get my cooldown back really fast. And then I've also got Innervation, which reduces grenade cooldown again when I pick up an orb, and also Insulation, which reduces my class ability cooldown when I pick up an orb. And then finally on my class item, I've got Proximity Ward so that during that finisher, you know, if you're in higher end content or something, and you're about to die, this puts up a big overshield on you so that you won't die and you can get that finisher off, and then you go invis and do all that other stuff with the volatile and the weaken and everything, so you'll be perfectly fine once you get the finisher off. And then I've got Powerful Attraction so that when I do pop my Healing Rift, and then I've got my Child of the Old Gods getting me ability energy back, I can get all those orbs around me, and it's just a big chain of like armor charge, ability spam, weakened, volatile orbs, just everywhere. And then I have Empowered Finish, just in case I get in a situation where I don't have a lot of armor charge or anything, and then I can do this, and it should give me 2 armor charge instead of 1, since we have stacks on stacks going. I think. Don't quote me on that though. So for my kinetic, I like to run something that does very little damage so that I can chip it away at the enemy and make sure that I can get them finishable instead of using like a hand cannon or a scout rifle where a headshot could accidentally like instantly kill them. And for lower tier enemies like Thrall, the submachine gun won't kill it in 1 hit. And then I run a crafted Nessas. You don't need to do this, but I think it just pairs with the build really well. Repulsor Brace on here gives you an overshield when you defeat a void debuff target. So anything that's volatile, anything that's weakened, anything that's suppressed, you just instantly get a void overshield, which we're going to be doing all the time. So that's just even more survivability. And then I have destabilizing rounds on here, which final blows cause nearby targets to become volatile. Now, this is a good perk, but we're going to be making things volatile all the time from our finishers anyway, so you could kind of go with other perks on here if you wanted to. And the beauty with all of this is that the main part of the build is this invisibility and volatile when you finish an enemy mixed with Felwinter's Helm. That is the main chunk of the build. So if you don't want to be grenade focused, if you'd rather spam a bunch of melees, which also pairs with Felwinter's Helm, then you can do melee mods. If you want to go in on super stuff or whatever else you want, you just need to have Felwinter's and a couple of these void perks. Now, the artifact makes this even better because you've got a bunch of really strong void mods this season. First of all, authorized mods void. This decreases the cost of all of our void mods on our armor. Granted, I'm not running a lot of void mods, but you could if you wanted to. And you've got this mod that defeating a void debuff target creates a void breach. So we're doing that even more, paired with Echo of Cessation, which also spawns a void breach when you defeat a volatile target. And then Protective Breach, picking up a void breach gives you an overshield or refreshes your existing overshield. So when we get an overshield from Repulsor Brace, or like any other thing that you can get it from, I don't know, it'll just instantly refresh it, or it'll give us an overshield if we don't already have one. So that's amazing. And then Supernova, picking up a void breach causes your next source of void damage to create a large weakening pulse. So you pick up a void breach, which we're already spawning a bunch of, and then you kill an enemy with a void thing. It could be a grenade, I think it could be a weapon, whatever, and then you're weakening everything again. Even though you just weakened everything with Felwinter's, now you have even more weakening. And then we've got squad goals, where performing a finisher, which happens to also pair with Felwinter's Helm, while you have Devour, which we're always pretty much going to have up, grants Devour to other people around you. So you just have a chain of finishing someone, Felwinter's Helm procs and makes everything weakened and sort of suppressed, and then everything is volatile from the finisher. You go invisible, and then you have the option to throw an empowered Axion Bolt if you want, or any other grenade that you feel like throwing. I just like to use Axion Bolt because it scatters out and it can hit a lot of different volatile targets. So you throw your grenade, you shoot your shotgun at a volatile enemy and you get a kill, and you get an overshield, and it's just an infinite cycle of Devour, overshield, volatile, weaken, suppress, and giving buffs and debuffs to your teammates. It's so good. So I really hope you try it out, and I'm sorry this was so like hectic. I just wanted to get it out as fast as I could. So have fun. So this is pretty much the premise of the build. Go up here. Ideally, you're gonna somehow have like 2 orbs, which will give you, if you do it with the setup that I have, getting 2 orbs will give you 4 or 5 armor charge, something like that. And then you finish an enemy, everything's volatile. Everything's weakened, everything's suppressed. Shoot one with your shotgun, you get a Void Overshield, you have Devour going, everything's volatile. And you get into a different situation. You're like, okay, finish an enemy. Everything's weakened, suppressed, volatile. You throw your Axion Bolt that's charged. It hits everything around you. You almost have your grenade back. Put out your little Void Soul to give you some ability energy. Finish another enemy. Everything's weakened, volatile. And then while you're doing all this with the artifact mods, you would be giving your teammates volatile. You would be picking up Void Breaches, which would make things more volatile. More Axion Bolt. It's just infinite Void debuffs and buffs to your team. It's just so good. I've yet to try this out in actual content, like endgame content or anything else like that. But I will be doing the dungeon tomorrow to test it out, the new dungeon, and we'll see how that goes.